Surprise, motherfucker.
Yes, guys, welcome to a Fleur Hour brought to you by Car City World. Not only are we joined by my co-host, Mr. Matthew Angel, we are joined with not only a Car City legend, but a college legend as well, Mr. Cohen Griffith. How are you doing, mate?
I'm all right, thank you. I don't know about college legend or Cardiff City legend. It's nice to hear, even if it's not true.
Gotta be polite, I'm not. I'm joking. No, I'm teasing, mate. No, thank you so much for doing this. Honestly, really do appreciate it. It's lush to see you again. It's been a good few years. It'd be nice not to talk about with you, have a conversation with you about college related stuff and actually talk football properly with you and stuff. So looking forward to it. So what we do, guys, is we'll talk about Cardiff season overall. Obviously, it's coming to a close now on the weekend. So a little bit of a sum up of the season, how we think it's gone, etc. And then just plough the questions into Cohen then, basically, and see and go from there if that's cool with everyone. I know there's quite a large following of fans you'll get on here tonight, Co. There's a lot of people who's excited to see you on here, mate. So there'll be a few questions from the comments, no doubt, as well. So brace yourself, mate.
Okay.
So
I've enjoyed the work.
there. So obviously, yeah, starting from the top then, Ainge season so far, well, season overall, I mean, it's no point saying so far now, is it? I think it's quite obvious that we would have taken this position given what happened last year. We would have bitten people's hand off, would we not?
Yeah, 100%. But I think,
this last season.
Yeah, I think, being realistic at the start of the season, if we win Saturday and results go our way, we got the opportunity to climb to 9th, I think it is. So, if given the last couple of years where we've been, we only stayed in the division last year because Reading had the points deduction. If it weren't for that, we'd have been in League One. So, to go from that to 9th, is really good in my opinion. Some of the football we've seen hasn't been great. Some of it's been really, really good. I think a lot of fans have been frustrated with the way that perhaps he sets up at home. They'd like it to be a bit more attacking. But yeah, overall, but I'd, like you said, I would have bitten someone's hand off at the start of the season if they said we'd finished, in the top half, which, we're guaranteed to finish in the top half and above the Jacks as well. So that's always a Brucey bonus.
Yeah, same for you, Co, do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think the main thing was to be better than last season, and last season, as Matthew said, it was really touch and go, and now to be safe a long time ago, and be a little bit disappointed because not higher up is a massive improvement. I think maybe because Cardiff started so well, people's hopes, were raised a little bit. But realistically, finished in 10th or whatever it might be from wherever, I don't know what the actual position was last year, but finishing in a position of relative safety is a big improvement, and it's a good building block for next year.
Yeah. And I do look at it as well and think, you've got the likes of Alan Ramsey, missed the majority of the season. Callum O'Dowd missed the majority of the season. That's two big players for us that we've, had on the sidelines for the majority of the season. So when you look at that as well, and to still have finished where we have, I think I'm just hoping now is the foundations, they give Bullet the opportunity now to, he's laid the foundations this year. And let's hope they give him the opportunity now, for me, in my personal opinion, to build on that next season, really.
Yeah, consistency is always going to be the thing, is I mean, it's easy to then go and keep chopping and changing managers and all that sort of stuff. And every manager will come in and will have their own opinions on how the team should be playing and who should be playing and all that sort of stuff. So, to give a manager a little bit of a chance to build his side, and then see where it goes. I mean, if he has, I know he said today he wanted a longer contract and all that sort of stuff. And if he gets a longer contract and he doesn't do it over those extra couple of years or 3 years or whatever it might be, well, that's fair enough. But you've got to give people the chance to build rather than constantly chopping and changing.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Because the thing is, you're just going to keep getting hand-me-downs from previous managers left at the club, aren't you? I can't remember offhand the numbers, but there was a statistic about Everton because they went through a horrific rate of chopping and changing managers, and I think there was a player who was maybe more than one. There's one or two players at the club who's had 5 different managers or something along those lines in even less than 5 years, So how on earth are they supposed to be in the predecessors' managers' plans if they're not even their sort of players, It baffles me. I've seen rumours knocking about. There's rumours after the end of year awards, not so sure if you boys seen it last week, that apparently he was offered a contract and he's not signed it because of the terms and conditions on it. And then I've seen rumours today that apparently Fiorentina have approached him about taking over for them for next season. So it's an interesting one, one in which, knowing our club, who knows what on earth is going to happen next. It is, who's to say what's going to happen and who could come in and replace him if that was to happen? Because then we'd go back to square one, not back to square one as such, but almost so, because we'd have to start looking at reinventing again and bringing in new players for different managers' perspective and different philosophies and things like that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. So, I don't know how many of these current squad that Bullet has brought in, but he will know exactly the players that he would want to keep now, and the type of play he wants to bring in, and just to supplement the squad. So, if they are even half happy with him, which I would have thought, they probably would be because of the position, then maybe they've got to show him a little bit of faith and give him a little bit of leeway and time to build. And then, if it doesn't work, then at least they're giving them the opportunity. But if you constantly chop and change, Birmingham have had so many managers this year, over the last couple of years anyway, and look where they are. There's no consistency there, and could be in, I think they're right in the relegation zone, aren't they? Or relegation battle anyway. So, sometimes changing managers, perhaps the grass isn't always greener. So
it's a lot more ruthless nowadays, isn't it? It's a business now. Managers are fighting for jobs every single week is bonkers now. Going back to your era then, Cole, I know it's not a million years ago, but it might seem a million years for you. But do you think managers are more harshly treated nowadays back compared to when you was playing?
I think so, because, as you said, it's a business now. I mean, it's always been a business, but it's a big money business, isn't it? And you know, when years ago Liverpool used to sign players, and you might not see them for 2 seasons while they taught them to play the Liverpool way. But now, if you sign somebody for, I don't know, however much it might be, if you sign him for 20 million, then
Excuse me, sorry.
you know you're not going to spend that amount of money and say, oh, you'll see how good he will be in 2 years' time. You know, you want to see it now, and I think the fact that there's this constant pressure to have results, good results, means that managers perhaps don't experiment.
Yeah, that's a fair comment.
And do you think that's why maybe Bullock was reluctant then to pull the trigger on the youth guys playing so much, like he and Ashford and the Joel Colwells, for example, until his hand was forced basically with the injuries? You know, we've been on, you know, talking about, well, Ashford in particular. We've been talking about Ashford since God knows how long, Angel, haven't we, on these shows about pulling the trigger and playing him instead of Jesus or Tete or whatever, because we just feel like, you know, he would have offered so much more. The fans would get behind him straight away, but he was reluctant to do so. And I think maybe that was partly down to the concern that if it goes wrong and not playing a tried and tested senior player, if you like, then it could have massively backfired. But I'm not convinced. But yeah.
I mean, nobody really knows the reason other than him. But, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if that was partly behind it, yeah. I mean, I think if I was managing and I felt constantly under pressure, then you're going to take the safer option.
I think expectations from Cardiff fans, you know, we always want better. There'll be people out there calling for his head, which, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I just think, you know, we've got to, like I said, we've got to back him. We've got to let him. He's new into the EFL this season, first time in outside of Turkey, I think, is it? So yeah, let's just support him and back him. And you know, the crowd was singing for him to stay on the weekend, and I know they have done for previous weeks and weeks. And yeah, that's my opinion. Let's just get him signed and sealed and delivered.
What I was thinking then is, if we take a little look at the comments, some lovely ones coming in already, Co. GD Parry says, "Hail to the king of the winners, Mr. Cohen Griffith." Paul says, to us fans, Cohen's a legend, the one player I'd still love to see attacking defenders and thwarting teams with his pace. See, I told you guys, good following, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that what happens is as time goes by, people forget probably, and then they're probably there thinking, "Oh God, you know, I can't believe he just keeps running and not doing anything." So, you know, as time goes by, you know, people forget, or they don't forget, but they remember the good stuff. So it's nice to have those sort of comments.
Massively, you know, so the amount of performances. I think you've got a slight delay again, Robert. I know.
Not much.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. But yeah, obviously going back, was it you've played? It was over 200 games you played for City, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Closer
yeah.
To 250, was it? I expect.
Well, I thought it was nearer 300, but you know, then there's these figures that are saying 240 and stuff like that. So I don't know. I know, like in the 6 years I was there, you know, I played most. I wasn't really injured a great deal, and if I was, I would say played. I was involved in most. And then there was a little spell when Terry Orth was there, the manager, that, you know, I was like sub a lot at the time. But everybody else I tended to play for. So I was involved in.
Just to pick up on that question, then you mentioned about injuries. Obviously, it's been well broadcasted, and somebody put a comment in there about injuries. Do you put that down to the work you and the way you looked after yourself as to why you didn't get injured, or was you just one of those type of people who, you was lucky and you didn't kind of pick up any of the knocks type of thing?
No, I think I played with injuries, and I think the attitude has changed now. Whereas, when I was playing, players half expected to play with injuries, and nowadays I would say that players, probably quite rightly, if they are injured, they feel within their right to say, no, I'm not, because I am, could be risking my career. Whereas, I would, if I possibly could, and even if it meant strapping up and doing God knows what, I'd play. And I remember a game, who was it we played? We ended up losing, and I went to Eddie May and said, listen, I cannot play. He wanted me to play against, we were on a run right towards the end when we won the league, and I said, I can't play. I'm absolutely knackered. And he said, listen, Pikey's out, Daly's out, I need you to play. So I strapped up, and I was absolutely terrible. But he wanted me to play, so I strapped up and tried, gave the goal away, we lost 1-0, he dropped me for the next game. So like I said, I think it's the attitude that has changed, whereas players were prepared to play with injuries, and maybe nowadays they're not able to, or maybe they won't allow them to. I don't know, but because I know sometimes if they they have all these measurements before training, and if it's out of the norm, then they'll say no, you're not going to train. Well, we didn't have any of that sort of stuff.
With like sports science and things like that now, when they got the physios and the masseuse, and you'd have a scan as if you come off with an injury, you're having a scan within a couple of hours.
Yeah,
it's all there for them now, and it's like you said, you probably wouldn't have had none of that back in your day.
Absolutely not. No. It would have been interesting, but I wanted to play. I wanted to play, and I was prepared to do pretty much whatever it was to play. But I do think that if I was to I think in that occasion, Eddie should have known I would have played if I possibly could do. So for me to be there, going there and saying I cannot, that should have been enough. But I could still have said no, I'm not going to play. So that's down to me in the end. Because once you go over that line, it doesn't matter whether you're playing injured or not. You're judged as if you're 100% fit. So maybe that's my fault.
I want to pose a question to you, Cole, if I may. One for our maybe younger viewers. Obviously, you were renowned as a rapid winger during your time. If you could compare yourself to a sort of modern day footballer, would there be a name that would come to mind on your play style?
Well, I see. I was always a wing or a centre forward. So I would say, in terms of work rate and stuff like that, maybe all Brighton type stuff for Leicester. But he maybe not that quick. I don't know. I don't know. I never considered myself particularly quick, to tell the truth. So because pace in football is over 30, 40 yards, getting off the mark and over there, because you're never going to run 100 yards, So I never considered myself particularly quick. I felt that I would be able to run at that pace throughout the game, but I think really, really sharp, over 30, 40 yards, I don't think I was that quick.
It's a good question there, and it's something that's come up a lot through conversations with the wingers we've had playing for Cardiff this season. Rhys David Evans asks, would you prefer to take the man on the outside as a winger, or would you look to cut back inside?
It wouldn't bother me, to tell the truth, because I could use both feet, and I always tried to make sure. I prefer the right because I'm right-footed. So what a lot of the fullbacks used to do, always used to say, show him inside, put him on his left. And I deliberately go onto my left early on and knock in an half decent cross, because the fullbacks, their job is to stop the cross. So by doing that, they've got to defend my left foot as well, because they know I will use it, I can use it, and then that frees up the right. So it didn't really bother me. There wasn't a particularly I'm cutting in on my left. The difference now is that we play these sort of inverted wingers. So you put a left footer on the right and a right footer on the left, so they come in and cross, which is or shoot, which is fair enough. But I do think if you've got a centre forward who is good in the air and might score from the cross, it almost like eliminates one of their strengths there. So it didn't bother me. I just make sure that that I try and do a decent cross, and if they doubled up, I just turn around and roll it back to Derek, and he'd have, or whoever the right back was, and he'd have time to cross. Because my job, as far as I was concerned, was getting crosses in from the right hand side or the left hand side, whatever it might be, and whether that cross was being put in by me or my fullback or whoever it might be, didn't make much difference as long as the crosses were coming in.
Great answer.
What position did you prefer to play, Cole? Did you prefer to play out wide, or would you prefer to have played more up top?
Well, I played a fair bit up front. I like being up front, to tell the truth, because you're always involved in the game. Sometimes I felt coming off at half time, as a winger, I thought, oh God, I've charged up and supported attack and come back and supported defence. And I was thinking, have I actually touched the ball yet? So I always felt as a centre forward, you were always in the game. So I preferred that.
Awesome. Talking about the wing position, how? Forgive me, I'm not too sure how much rotation was going about when you were playing, but obviously Cardiff rotated during the season quite a lot. Granted, not the fullback position, but how important is the continuity of having the same sort of players around you week in, week out? Because we seen it quite often over the season with Cardiff, where very, very rarely there'd be full 11 players playing from one week to the next. Is that quite important, do you think, to your continuous running of the game?
Well, rotation sort of came in after I finished, to tell the truth. I mean, the game has become so much more physical and intense that maybe you have to rotate. But we never used to rotate really. I think it's getting that. It's a real fine balance, isn't it, between resting players up, because if you don't rest them, then they might pick up an injury and be out for longer and stuff like that. But also keeping your key players that you need, who are going to, knit the side together and help you to play. And then there might be types of players as well that will thrive on constantly playing, and those ones who need to be fresh all the time. So, it's perhaps knowing your players and knowing what they bring to the squad, and then just making those decisions on an individual basis. But we never really had rotation, and they call it rotation. If they'd have said, you're not playing this game, I would have felt like I was being dropped. I would have been gutted. I used to like the midweek matches and all that sort of stuff, because it meant we didn't train so much.
No, I want to check your way. Sorry, I'm bombarding you. I'm taking over. Sorry, Ange.
Right, I'm just sat back enjoying this.
That's brilliant. No. Was you ever approached during your time in Cardiff or any other team to go to a higher level at all? Was that ever on the table?
Well, no one ever told me, so I mean, they don't have to tell you, do they? I mean, again, it was a different thing.
No.
Because that you signed your contract, and then at the end of your contract, even if you wanted to go, the club still had you. It wasn't until Bosman came in and sorted all that out that you had that freedom to go. And rightly so. So, if anybody did come, then they didn't have to tell me, and I don't know. I know that I had towards the end of it, I could have gone maybe to Wrexham, I could have gone to Hereford, but sometimes it's better, as I said, it's better the W. And at that time as well, my kids were had been born and were living in Wales, and then you're sort of uprooting everything to and the families for who knows how long. So there's, as you get older and as you have your family, then the life of a footballer means that you might be uprooting the family regularly, and I didn't want to do that.
Good comment in there from Reese Rob. If you can pull that one up.
I just put the grab in. Was like playing under the floodlights at Ninian Park at night as a young fan. Special place for me as a fan. But what was it like to actually play under the old floodlights?
I love the night games. Because it is a different atmosphere, 100%. And if there's a decent crowd there, which when I was playing in Ninian Park, there wasn't always a decent crowd there, then it's a great atmosphere. But I played at Ninian Park, and there's probably 1,500 people there or something. And I deliberately, when I used to go out, I never used to look into the stands, because there's nothing worse than going out and it being sort of, especially in a big arena like that, when it's full, when it's when you're having your cup runs and there's a big game, there's just a different atmosphere around the club, and that's great, that is then. And people, when I first came, they were telling me when Cardiff are doing well, there's the train, put special trains on from the valleys and all this sort of stuff, and and then when you're doing well, you suddenly see it happening, and then you happen to get to the ground 2 hours, 3 hours before, just so you can park your car, all that sort of stuff. And it's a great atmosphere when things are going well.
Awesome. I seen a good one from GD Parry about a midfield. What do you think of this, Cole? Cohen, Winnie Miller, Ramsey, Nicky Richardson, war midfield.
Yeah, it was. Well, Nicky used to take my place half the time. So Paul Miller used to shoot from and it was going in. It used to get ridiculous at one stage. Paul Ramsey just going in and tackling everything that moved. So if you look at that, then Paul Miller signed as a centre forward. And then it didn't quite work out for him as centre forward, and then he dropped in. I was signed as a centre forward. I won't say it didn't work out for me, but signed Daly instead, and he did well. Paul Miller, centre forward, it didn't quite work out. Phil Stamp came in, so it's just about adaptability in that team, in that 92-93 team. There was a lot of adaptability, and Blakey could play anywhere. If anywhere you wanted him to play, he could play and do a decent job. Who else was there? David Brazil, right back, centre half, centre midfield. Jason Perry, right back or centre half, and then you got Surley, left back, left wing. There was a lot of adaptability. Robbie James, put him anywhere. So and that's what made the side a success. When things weren't quite going well, or if people got injured, then people were able to fill in a position and do a decent job.
What was your team spirit like? What was the kind of camaraderie like in the changing room and like after games and things? Was that an experience back in them days, or?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of successful sides will have a good team spirit in there. It's just that little extra 1% that helps you win games, and then when you're winning games as well, then you don't mind going out together. You don't mind having your joke or whatever it might be. I mean, when we were training, it was an absolute nightmare. If Paul Ramsey and Neil Matthews were injured, then anything could have happened when we come back in. Your stuff might have been cut up or God knows what, but it was all taken in decent spirit. So yeah, the team spirit was good. We used to sort of go out together, and then even now don't see each other very often, but when you do meet up, then it's just almost like just slot straight back in again.
Yeah, and that's brilliant, isn't it? That's what football's all about. Is brilliant.
I think that happens at all levels as well. Successful sides brings the camaraderie together, and they stay in touch. When I was non-league, we've got a WhatsApp group, and all of my Leicester United teammates, we stay in contact on that, and that's God knows, probably about 40 odd years ago. We still stay in touch and meet up every so often and things like that.
That's class. What was I going to say? So one thing I'd like to ask, well, is two parts to it, if I may. Who, during your time playing, it doesn't necessarily need to be Cardiff, who was the most underrated player you think you played with?
Underrated?
I should have prepped you for these, shouldn't
I? Should have prepped me for that one. Let's see.
That's payback, guys, for all the college work back in the day.
That's for all the fails in college, as coach.
Right. No. What are you two? Distinction student, you?
No, I know you're lying.
I'm trying to think. Underrated.
Was it okay, so I'll reword it then. Was it one?
Go on. Well, what I was going to say is I didn't really play with him. But I was going to say I haven't played with him, but some of these old things where I did used to play a little bit. Jason Fowler, I did play with him just after he was, but what a good player he was. Really, really good. And effortless. Just used to glide past people. And I thought he was a really, really good player. And I don't hear him mentioned too much. He might get mentioned a lot, but I don't hear him mentioned too much, but he's a really, really good player.
He was one who struggled with injuries towards the end as well, if I remember rightly. Cozy, he picked up a couple of injuries, if I'm right.
Right. Okay, I don't know, because like I said, he arrived after me, but when I'm playing,
I can remember, and he was a great player. Player.
Yeah.
I think Rob's internet is playing up. I know you've had issues for the last week, so it looks like he's logging out and logging back into his phone. So obviously the football days are behind you now, but obviously you're still involved in the game, Co, are you?
Yeah. I work in. I take Merthyr under 15s, so I'm a coach there with Gareth Harvard, and we just take Merthyr under 15s in the academy league, and then I still work at the college. So college team just turns up, and we just play games there, basically. So still involved.
You still do some volunteer work down at the Boys and Girls Club in
Yes,
Estromanna?
still there. Still there with someone at Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, Kenny Pritchard, what a local legend Kenny is.
He's still there, yes. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
still there, and
he was there when we used to go there like 30 odd years ago. Well, probably more than that. I know. Yeah, probably about 32 years ago, I expect.
yeah,
But,
yeah. Well, that's how long he's been doing it, and he's there, you know, every night as well. So
yeah,
just imagine how many hours that is.
yeah. I can't remember the coach. I want to say when I used to go, we used to have a coach
Mel,
come in and do bits. Mel Davis, is it?
yeah,
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 what a legend he was as well. What a fantastic person he was.
yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah, bless him.
Yeah,
But
we still
no,
got the
fair
little
play.
sports hall as well.
Sorry, say that again, mate.
So we've still got the little sports hall. I mean, it's changed a little bit, but we got the sports hall, and there's loads
Yeah,
of games always go on up there. So
yeah.
you know, you need to
And the
pop up one night.
little
And,
memorabilia room as well.
what's that? Sorry.
The memorabilia room as well,
Yeah,
just up the
yeah, that's
stairs.
still there. Yeah, you know, it has changed a lot, but you know, there's still parts of it you will.
But you know, it's great. It's giving it's the kids something to do. The kids are not on the streets. And you know, I think you know you guys there and the things you do there, and you know Kenny in particular, and I know his son Ken is doing bits there as well. It's fantastic for the community, and no, it's you know it's another great thing you're doing. So well done.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, Rob.
Stopped you, Cole.
You back in the room now? Is your internet working?
Is there any better?
Still, there's probably about a 10-second delay, 5 or 10-second delay, I think.
Shocking.
Don't panic, don't worry.
Comment from Paul here. Do you want to read, James? Because mine's clipping out again.
I remember walking with my ball boy friends to games at Ninian Park. Cohen, Chrissy Pike, Surly would be walking to games down Ninian Park Road, I think, because Surly lived in Riverside.
Well, I wouldn't be walking anywhere if I didn't have to. So I think what probably happened is we were used to park across the road and then just come across. And like I said, at some, you know, when some matches you could get there maybe an hour before and park right at the front. And then when Cardiff are doing well, you get there 2 hours before and you're halfway down that because it was quite a big car park. So, you know, and then there was that buzz around the place, and it was always really good to see that. I loved it when there was that buzz, and I used to think, oh, this is what it would be like. It must be like in the Premiership or in the Championship and stuff like that. You know, get there early and fans mingling around and all that sort of stuff. Because even now, the club shop when I was there was just a porter cabin pretty much. Yeah. And now you look at the club shop and how it's advanced. You know, you've got all of these sponsorship packages. You know, I think you had maybe two rooms that you could put people in, and now you could get God knows how many things going on at the same time. So, you know, the commercial aspect of it is growing massively, and it needs to be to maximise the amount of funds that you can raise.
Yeah. What's your opinion then, Cole, on games you've been to this season and the fact that there are so many empty seats? Obviously, you're involved in grassroots football. Do you think the club should do more and offer like those tickets out to grassroots clubs and just get bums on seats?
Well, I suppose it's. I mean, they used to do commercial at one stage when I was at Merthyr, as it turned out, and I would always used to say that, you know, if the seats are going to be empty, why don't we just fill them up with kids? The kids will buy stuff anyway. They'll buy their foods and they'll bring their probably parents will come, and then what you are giving, what you're guaranteeing is your support for the future. Because once you've got them hooked, then that's your base for the future. Now, I suppose with Cardiff, I don't know. There might be a reason why you can't do it. I don't know, but they don't like to. Well, I know in Merthyr they never like to give away stuff. But I always used to have that argument that you know, let's get them in, and then they will buy things, and even if
Yeah.
they spend £5, it's £5 more than you would have had because that season would have been empty.
Well, me and my boys are a perfect example. I used to, I think one of my first games, I can't remember if it was against Maidstone or Maidenhead, something like that. I think we lost 5-2 or 6-2 or something like that. And I was sat in the family enclosure and right at the front, and the old Indian Park, you couldn't, if you sat at the front of in the family enclosure, you couldn't see the other side of the pitch because of the dome.
Yeah.
But yeah, we lost 5-2 or 6-2. I can't remember if it was Maidstone or Maidenhead. I can't remember, but that's my earliest encounter. And then saving the little. Can you remember the vouchers? I don't know if you would remember. No, you used to save the vouchers in the back of the South Wales Echo, and you put them in your little wallet and pay the woman on the gate like £3, I think it was. But that was back in the day when my dad used to take me. But it's gone full circle now. So just going back to my original point. I had 2 free tickets. We went to watch the Millwall game. We won 1-0. My boy loved it. He was home the following week against Bristol City, so he asked to go again. And then we're into our 3rd season now. Just finished the 3rd season of season tickets now. So yes, it's a no-brainer for me.
It says it all.
Perhaps they could do it for some games. I mean, like if you're playing perhaps Leeds or whatever it is, that's going to be packed. But also knows there's going to be games where it's not going to be a full house, and you could perhaps just try it on there and then just see how it goes. Could work your way around the local primary schools or whatever it might be.
Yeah. I used to love the kids going out at half time and playing football. I think they've done it once or twice this season, but back in the day, they do it all the time, and there'd be kids out there, there'd be schools there. Every half time, there'd be a local or 2 local football teams playing against each other, and that used to the experience and the memories the kids get from that as well. Then, and again, I don't know how much they're restricted nowadays because they don't like people on the pitch and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is a good example, Cole. I'm not sure if you've seen, but our club, Fleur, we have a good affiliation with Newport County, and every season 3 or 4 age groups are invited down for the Newport Swindon game, where they will be flag bearers, and then 2 age groups then have a little kickabout at half time, basically just behind the goal area. I appreciate we're Fleur as we come under the MP address, so we don't have no affiliation really with Cardiff. Maybe that's why we go down the Newport route, but I don't think that's a thing. Doesn't seem to be a thing outside looking in for what Cardiff does. I don't think anymore anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that someone would be able to answer whether there is a thing, whether there's a reason why they don't do it. I don't know, but I don't see too many downsides to doing it from the outside. Now, somebody might say, "Oh, listen, we just cannot do that." But from me as an outsider, I don't see too many downsides to it.
I think they do have kids' teams go there to be like flag bearers and things. I think there is a significant cost to that.
Tredegar did it a couple of weeks back, Ange.
And there's a significant cost.
Yeah, so I'm guessing they got to pay for the right to do it then. So
yeah.
So sometimes
it was a good few £100 they paid.
Is it? God.
Yeah, Tredegar and the Nines, they were flag bearers for I think it was the Southampton game, I want to say. Yeah, I think it was the Southampton game, potentially. And I was talking to one of the coaches about it for coach for Tredegar and the Nines, and they spent a lot of their raised money budget went on that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like I said, it's big business now, and we're running a football club. But sometimes, you've got to remember, perhaps you just want to invest a little bit, and and think, okay, it's not going to earn me loads of money now, but in the long run, these kids, if you get them hooked, they'll pay that back 10 times over, more than 10 times over. So I don't know. But again, there's reason, there's bound to be reasons behind it. But for me, as a fan, I'd like to see it. No, if they got to charge them, then fair enough. But I don't think it should be a significant cost. Really, just cover whatever it costs you to do it, maybe.
Just to go back on that, then in a little bit of defence for the club, like I sit in the family end with my boy. He's only 8, and the season ticket for my boy is £59. Now, I don't think you can go wrong for that. You got 23 home games for £59. I think is a bargain, absolute bargain.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's
how I do it.
They are a little bit there. So, but maybe could do a little bit more. In terms of once they have a season ticket, you're rewarding them there. But how are you going to get them to have that season ticket? Give them that initial experience as well. As well.
Yeah. One more question.
Good question from Reese. Yeah, how important was a real leader in the dressing room? Did you have a few leaders or one or two? And how did everyone react to a leader in the dressing room? We don't seem to have one at the moment, in his opinion.
Right. So, well, you got to have your leaders in the dressing rooms, and obviously the leader for us was Paul Ramsey. But then you'd have little other people who, senior professionals who would have their influence as well. Obviously, perhaps Hazelwood would have been there, Gibbo would have been there in amongst it. A Blakey, would be, would voice his opinion anyway. Gary Thompson was there. So yeah, you got to have somebody who's got to step up. But the other thing is, why can't everybody step up? Why can't everybody say, right, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to do whatever it takes or whatever? You shouldn't need somebody there to say, come on, let's do this, that, or whatever it might be. It should be within everybody's capabilities to say, right, I'm going to make sure I do my job and do this and that. They shouldn't need somebody to come and say, come on, let's do it.
Yeah. Reese also says, what an age.
What? Sorry, man. So they did the 50% off. Should be kids for £1, and something like season ticket holders can bring one adult or 2 kids for free to get a better crowd. Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Mate, this has been class, Co. It's been lovely to see you again. It's been absolutely brilliant, mate. I'm sorry about my delay again. I will do it off my phone next time because you're in.
Can I ask one last question before we go? And just to echo Rob's comments, Co, really appreciate and value your time. Very much appreciated. But one final question from me. What was your best or proudest moment in a Cardiff City shirt? I think I'll probably know the answer before you say it, but you might surprise me.
I don't think I will surprise you here because, well, I won't even say moment because the day Scunthorpe was, ridiculous. Just, really good memories. The travelling down, scored a couple. The reactions at the end, things that happened throughout the day. I can't even remember. I can't really remember what happened in the evening. Not because I got drunk or anything like that, but my memories are all about the travelling down, the match, and the immediate post-match. We must have gone out, but I can't you know, it was probably just another night out. My memories are all about that, you know, the match and, you know, the immediate post-match.
Awesome.
Well, you know,
Awesome.
I've enjoyed it. Go on, Bob.
No, go on, Kobe.
Listen, all I was going to say is, listen, I've enjoyed the chat, you know, reminiscing and all that sort of stuff. There's not been too many difficult questions. So, you know, thanks for inviting me on. It's been enjoyable.
Welcome to come back anytime you want to sacrifice 50 minutes for us, Cole. You're welcome anytime.
There's no problem at all.
No, really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
I'll work on my internet next time.
Okay, then. I'll have some homework. Yeah.
Top man.
No,
thank you,
so
Cole.
much.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Take care, Cole.
Cheers, then. Cheers, Bob. Cheers, Matt.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Do appreciate the comments, etc. Apologies, I'm gonna have to use my phone next time because this is just ridiculous. So apologies, guys, if I've not been with it on the feedback, etc. One thing left to say, Ange.
Up a flower. Take care.
Down the street, lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.